Okay, so let's dive in. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating set of sources you sent over, all about the musician's mind. We're looking at this surprising journey, maybe, from what seems like pure physical skill
Yeah.
all the way to potentially changing how someone sees reality.
Yeah, exactly. The sources, they really dig into the neurocognitive side, how mastering an instrument, which, people often just wave away as muscle memory, might actually tweak things like how they perceive time
Right.
and even boost complex thinking and, yeah, maybe subtly shift their whole experience of the world.
So our goal here, our mission for you in this deep dive is to pull out the key insights from these articles on this whole transformation.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start right there with that muscle memory idea. Your sources seem pretty clear that's, well, not really the right label.
That's right. Yeah, the sources correct that. It's more accurately called procedural memory. And it's definitely not stored in your muscles. It's these really complex sequences, and they get encoded in the brain. We're talking motor cortex, cerebellum, basal ganglia, like your brain learning some incredibly complicated choreography.
A very precise choreography.
Yeah.
And it takes years, right? Years of really disciplined, deliberate practice. Practicing slowly, breaking things down.
Fixing every little mistake, yeah. All that automates these motor sequences. It sounds like a grind, but that step is just crucial.
Why crucial? What does that automation actually do?
Well, the fascinating thing is automating it really cuts down the sheer mental effort needed just to play the notes, just the physical part.
Ah, okay.
Your brain isn't consciously wrestling with how to move your fingers anymore. It becomes fluid, almost automatic. And that frees up, cognitive bandwidth.
And this is where your sources suggest it gets really interesting, because that freed up mental space gets tied into refining how musicians perceive time.
Yeah.
Like really refining it.
Absolutely. They show this superior temporal acuity. We're talking detecting tiny, tiny time differences, milliseconds, not just in sound, but visually too.
Milliseconds. Wow.
Yeah, think about a pianist hitting keys perfectly together or in super rapid succession. That precision can be down to 6 to 10 milliseconds, way beyond what most of us need day to day.
So how does the brain manage that? Is it specific bits being trained?
Well, the sources point to these specific time processing networks getting seriously honed. The cerebellum, it seems to act kind of like a very precise stopwatch for intervals.
Okay.
While the basal ganglia are maybe more like a flexible metronome for rhythm, for the beat.
Yeah.
And it's not just measuring time. Musicians get really good at rhythmic entrainment.
Entrainment.
Yeah, like your brain syncing up with external rhythms, tapping your foot automatically. It's key for predicting what's coming next in time.
Okay, so they develop this amazing sensitivity to time. Does that just make them better musicians? Or does it spill over?
That's a great question, and the sources suggest it absolutely does spill over. It acts like a kind of scaffold for other broader cognitive skills.
Like what?
Well, musicians often show advantages in things like working memory, holding info in your head and juggling it, and core executive functions.
Okay, executive functions.
Yeah.
Like planning, problem solving.
Exactly. Planning, problem solving, cognitive flexibility, the sort of high-level thinking you need for complex tasks. It seems their skill with complex musical patterns, which have these hierarchies, like language, that might transfer to general abstract reasoning. You really see it in musical improvisation. They're basically solving complex problems in real time, creatively.
Wow. So learning finger movements can actually build the architecture for abstract thought. That's pretty profound. But the deepest level in your sources goes even further, suggesting it might shape their actual concept of reality.
Yeah, this is where it gets into things like embodied cognition. The basic idea is that our physical actions, our bodily experiences, they aren't separate from how we think abstractly. They shape it. So the argument goes, constantly engaging with and physically shaping musical time year after year, that might build these deep ingrained ways of experiencing time itself, like temporal schemas.
So it's not just understanding time intellectually. It's like feeling it differently, living in it differently.
Kind of, yeah. The sources talk about navigating two types of time. Chronos, that's clock time, seconds, minutes.
Measured time.
Right. And kairos, which is more like opportune time, felt time, the right moment. Think planning a meeting versus sensing the perfect time to speak up.
Ah, okay. Chronos and kairos.
Musicians constantly juggle both, right? They stretch and compress moments within a measured beat, and mastering both, really living in both, that could lead to a richer, more dynamic perception of reality itself. Time isn't just linear, it's something you can sculpt.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway here? This intense musical discipline, focusing so closely on time and physical practice, it does way more than just make good players.
It seems to fundamentally refine the brain's time processing, yeah. And that kicks off this cascade, boosting other cognitive skills and maybe, just maybe, altering the very texture of how they experience reality.
And this whole process, mind building complex ideas on this, meticulously built time framework, it's a really valuable model for cognitive science, isn't it?
It really is. Shows the deep impact of dedicated embodied practice in ways we maybe didn't expect.
Which leaves a really interesting question for you to chew on. Could that kind of deep, focused engagement with timing in any skilled activity, maybe sports, maybe crafting, coding, whatever, could that also subtly reshape how you fundamentally understand and experience the world? Something to think about.